brings you bone-chilling stories to keep you on the edge of your seat. In tonight's video, we bring you two stories full of suspense and the terrifying element of kidnapping. In the first story, strange events escalate in an apartment when a child claims to have seen a tall woman and takes the last dwarf under the bed. As the investigation continues, a secret chamber is discovered with dusty skeletons and ancient talismans, revealing something dark and sinister lurking in the shadows. The second story is about a family experiencing inexplicable events in their apartment, including a child's fear of the bathroom and claims of seeing someone watching from a mirror. But the horror reaches new heights when the protagonist encounters a deformed figure with a cold fallen hand and a bone protruding from his face. The situation takes a turn when another child appears in the bathroom, calling for help to escape. These stories are sure to leave you feeling uneasy and suspenseful. Therefore, be sure to subscribe to our channel and activate the bell button to stay updated with our latest releases. Your support motivates us to bring you more exciting stories every week. Are you ready to experience the horror? Let's dive in. Let's get started. First story. Every night, I could hear footsteps echoing down the corridor of my apartment. I tried to ignore him, convincing myself that it was just my imagination playing tricks on me. But when my child, Jane, started talking about seeing a tall woman in the house, I started to feel uncomfortable. Of course, no one believed him, because children often have wild imaginations. But then, I noticed wet fingerprints on the walls, the ones no kid could make. And the prints were on the ceiling too, which made absolutely no sense. I tried to dismiss the strange events and invented nonsensical arguments to explain them. But deep down, I knew something wasn't right. And one day, the whole thing came to a head. She was awakened by Jane's terrified screams, saying that a dwarf had taken his brother Harry under the bed. At first, she tries to calm him down, assuring him that it was just a bad dream. But when I looked in Harry's room, I saw blood on the floor running towards the bottom of the bed. It was then that I noticed a door that I had not seen before. When I moved my bed to investigate, I found that the door led to a cellar, something I didn't know existed in my apartment. As I descended the creaking stairs, I was struck by the stench of death. My phone's flashlight revealed a strange, disturbing sight, an old, dusty skeleton lying in the center of the room. And on the door, I saw spells that I recognized from an old book I read years ago. I never thought that I would see a real one in my life. My heart raced when I realized that the strange happenings in my apartment weren't just my imagination. I stumbled upon something dark and sinister, something I could never have imagined. My world has turned into a nightmare of horror and fear. I could not understand what was happening to me. And then, suddenly, Jin's voice cut through the darkness, pulling me back into reality. "Dad, wake up," he said. I opened my eyes to find Jin crying and telling me that Harry, his brother, had died. It was just a dream, but the fear persisted. I couldn't get rid of the feeling that something was wrong. There was a woman in the house, and I didn't know who she was or what she wanted. I was sure Harry hadn't died of natural causes. Something sinister was going on. She begins digging under the bed, hoping to find evidence of Harry's death. But there is nothing there. The room was empty, but the horror remained. I couldn't get rid of the feeling that I was going crazy. But then my neighbor Michael told me about the people who lived in the house before me. He stated that the Antichrist was arrested for the disappearance of a girl named Mary. Her body was found in the bathroom of the house. It hit me like a ton of bricks. Mary was the woman I had at home. Harry once said that she looked like her. I was overwhelmed with fear and dread. Every night, I could hear Harry's voice calling to me for help. But when I opened his room door, he was never there. I knew I had to leave, to escape the darkness that took over my life. But even as I packed my bags and said goodbye to Jane, I knew the nightmare would continue to haunt me, no matter where I went. Here's the second story. My son Peter has always been afraid of the bathroom, but lately, he has become afraid of going to the bathroom alone. At first, I didn't think much of it, as it was common for young children to have such fears. However, his anxiety became so severe that he claimed to have seen someone watching him from the bathroom mirror. I dismissed his claims, but one night I heard him calling me in a horrified voice. When I entered the bathroom, I saw something standing in front of me in the dim light. My heart was racing. I felt a cold grip on my hand. Peter was, but his hand was falling off. I stared into his eyes and saw his face horribly disfigured, bones sticking out of it. I screamed and ran out of the shower with my son, my heart pounding. Later, she found Peter asleep in his bed, but he was asleep at about 7. The next morning I asked him what happened in the bathroom the night before. He denied remembering anything, adding to my growing anxiety. I could not get rid of the feeling that something had happened in our apartment. Days passed, and things seemed to be back to normal, until one night I went to use the bathroom myself. When I turned on the light, I saw another kid standing there, looking like an amputee. I got scared, but the kid started talking to me in a hushed voice, telling me that he's been stuck in the bathroom for years and needs my help to escape. With trembling hands, I opened the bathroom door, and the baby ran and disappeared into thin air. Afterward, I kicked my family out of the apartment, still shaken by the experience. I never discovered the cause of these strange occurrences, but I knew one thing for sure: I would never ignore my son's fears again. In the end, thanks for watching Horror Tales. We hope you enjoyed these kidnapping and suspense stories. As we wrap up these stories, we can only imagine what frightening and unsettling tales lurk in the dark. But we promise to bring you more exciting stories that will keep you on the edge of your seat. Don't forget to subscribe and activate the bell button if you are a fan of horror stories. By doing so, you'll be the first to know when we're uploading new stories that are going to be bone-chilling. Your support motivates us to keep creating content and sharing these stories with the world. Again, thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon with more spooky tales.